Hey there, folks. Welcome back to another stream. I know it has been a long time since I've done one of these. Just been busy. As you can see, I am joined with my really good friend, Matt Ramboraph4life. And as you can see by the title, we're going to be talking about Hellraiser. A franchise that, in my opinion, has been long past its expiration date, and they should just stop making Hellraiser movies. I don't know about you, Matt, but that's just how I feel about Hellraiser. I mean, the last good Hellraiser film for me was Hellraiser 3, Hell on Earth, and even that was, it was there. It was all right. Now, I would say it's above average. It wasn't on par with the first two for me. And after that, Bloodline had its moments, and Inferno was okay for what it was. But then it was just nothing but pain and torture from that point on. And the new one, I saw the trailer, and I wasn't as impressed as other people. Because I'm sorry, I'm not going to be one of those people that it looks good. I'm sick and tired of giving films a pass today because they look good. So many films in the horror genre, especially when it comes to these direct-to-video streaming movies or so on, they look good. So I'm tired. I'm not giving a pass to that kind of stuff anymore. So hey there, folks. Yeah, Mr. Rogers, the trailer, like it wasn't terrible. Like it was a little bit better than maybe I would have initially expected, but at the same time, it has more of a budget behind it than Judgment, for instance, or Revelation, so it should look better.
Hello to the chat. To see you guys, but again, I don't want to interrupt Mike. This is his stream, his show. But hello to everyone out there. Michael, Night of Snake, everybody. Mm-hmm. Hello.
Here's another opposing viewpoint. So I thought it looked bad for Thomas. It looked like a TV movie, but I'll probably watch it. Yeah, it looked like a episode of like a streaming Hellraiser series or something.
Yeah, it was Hulu.
Yeah, so that's the other thing. Like, it's going to Hulu. Like, if it was that good, like, wouldn't it have gotten a theatrical release? It seems like it's Prey 2.0, Matt. It's like we're doing the Prey 2.0 here. Because the trailer's getting all this praise, all this hype already. People are already acting like and saying it's going to be great, the best Hellraiser film since Hell on Earth. And I'm just like,
but let's be honest, every trailer's gotten praise, whether it be Scream 5, and the film, whether it be Halloween Kills, Halloween Ends trailer. Like, what doesn't get it? Like, what doesn't?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. That's a good point. Yeah, the trailer didn't show enough to tell if it will be good or not. No, which is good. It's good that a trailer does that, but it's just one of those things where it just felt like it was the same shit to me. It just looked a little nicer, a little slicker, had more of a budget behind it, and it's just another Hellraiser film, but with a different Pinhead. But this time around, it's a transgender actress who's playing Pinhead. But it's the same sort of stuff. Somebody finds the box, messes around with it, the Cenobites come, and they torture people, and there's this guy who's interested in the box. It's one of those things where this franchise has been on and has been going on for so long that what can you really do that is that unique or interesting other than like changing a coat of paint?
And a femboy Pinhead.
Yeah. I mean, I understand the source material by Clive Barker had an androgynous Cenobite in it. I remember reading it years ago, and I didn't think it was that great.
Why does it need to be Pinhead? Well, doesn't Clive Barker have like a ton of other stories?
See, yeah, that's the other thing. Like Clive Barker has a lot of other short stories that could be adapted into something, and instead we're just doing Pinhead and Hellraiser again because of nostalgia.
As much as I'm against sequels, I'd rather see a sequel to Lord of Illusions with Scott Bakula as a retired private eye, one last deadly case.
Yeah, but instead we'll get another Jeepers Creepers movie because that's just how things are.
Only this is not directed by Victor
Jeepers
Salva.
Creepers Reborn, which I've heard is horrible. Like people are saying, like it's an absolute piece of shit.
Well, I mean, Jeepers Creepers 3 was that as well. So
I've only seen the first two. I haven't gone past number 2.
Yeah, missing that.
So when it comes to Hellraiser films, I would say probably off the top of my head, because it's been a while since I've seen them, but I think I might revisit the franchise this October, along with Texas Chainsaw Massacre, because I already watched a good chunk of those films, so I just need to sit down and record the videos. So that leaves room for Hellraiser. And I think that's fitting because, the new Hellraiser is coming out and people will probably be asking me about it anyway. Yeah, Mr. Rogers, yeah, the first two are great. I would say the first film is probably my favorite Hellraiser film for me personally. I do like Hellbound. I enjoy Hellbound. It's a good one. I have fun with Hellraiser 3, but the tone is a little eh. Bloodline is interesting. Bloodline's a film that I wish didn't get fucked around with by the producers, by Dimension and everyone else. They just let Kevin Yeager and company just make the movie they wanted to make. Because I think it would have been potentially decent if they did that. Instead, they got involved and they fucked shit up and made it into Pinhead in space and didn't really have a lot of the origin stuff with the prequel stuff that I thought was more interesting. And then you get to Inferno and it feels like it's just a Hellraiser franchise in name only. And I think that was kind of the intent. I thought I remember reading something that the initial intention for like Inferno initially was a Hellraiser anthology show. And that would make sense. Like if that, you would like Freddy's Nightmares, but with Pinhead. And then that makes sense that, they don't really feel like true Hellraiser sequels most of the time. But I'll take Inferno over Hellseeker or Deader or Hellworld. Like Hellworld, that was god awful. That was hellish. Or Revelations, which might be the worst one, with Pinhead.
Yeah, that's
looking like the Michelin Man. And then Judgment, I actually haven't seen yet.
Better than Revelations, but still not that good.
Mm-hmm. What are your thoughts on the Hellraiser films, Matt?
I think, truthfully, 3 films were all you needed.
Mm-hmm.
I like the first 3. 4 I could watch for some. It's sad that the one where he goes into space isn't the worst one.
Yeah.
5, I like Craig Sheffer, but wasn't big on it. It's not god awful. It's not, but it's just
it's there.
It's a lesser version of Angel Heart and Jacob's Ladder.
Yeah.
And then everything after that was just completely forgettable, unneeded, unwanted. My favorite is part 2. I do quite like Hellraiser 3. The first one I do like. And yeah, you only need 3 movies. And honestly, like I'm more a fan of Lord of Illusions than that stuff. But they don't make.
See, with Clive Barker, I did watch his. I watched the anthology Books of Blood that was also Hulu film, and initially that was going to be a series. It was going to be a streaming anthology show, but the pandemic happened, and then they turned it into a movie. and it didn't work as well as a film because there was the Books of Blood story. They did another version of that. There was already one prior. I don't know if you've heard of it. There was another Books of Blood movie prior to the short that was in the Books of Blood anthology movie. It was just its own film. I think it was like a Lionsgate thing or direct to video or whatever. And I haven't watched it yet, but I do have it. And that's a good story. That's an interesting story. But they've already adapted that and done something based on that story like twice. He's got other books and other short stories. He's written a lot of short stories. That's why I was curious about the anthology show. Honestly, I wish they just used the money for this Hellraiser reboot and just did the anthology series and actually, finished it like they intended.
More name recognition for the title.
Yeah.
That's just the truth of the matter.
Definitely. Trying to get there we go. Had to enable auto scroll or something. It's been a while since I've been on a stream. Yeah, that is a good point, Drew. When a horror sequel has Reborn in the title, would suck hard. It will suck hard. Yeah, all three of those have sucked pretty hard. Howling Reborn, which was essentially Twilight with no budget, and Werewolves with the actress who played Mose in Ned's Declassified School Survival Guide. The Mangler Reborn. That's another series. It's like, why do we have a Mangler franchise?
I have no idea.
And Watchers, like the first three are watchable. Some of them are. The first two are actually pretty good for what they are, and the third film I could watch, but like the fourth film, yeah, that Reborn was terrible. That was bad.
Mm-hmm. I did ultimately see.
That's a good point.
I did ultimately see the trailer since you mentioned it, and I thought it was just so forgettable.
Yeah.
One ear out the other.
Yeah.
Looks like a direct to streaming movie with some bucktooth beaver Twilight guy.
Yep.
Getting the box, solving a puzzle. A lead lady that just automatically screamed douchebag. Or why man, I'm a why man,
Yeah.
Wouldn't be surprised if she's on the rad, just like Pinhead's probably on the rad.
Or you have some sexist thing, where all the men are fucking idiots and dumbasses and misogynists.
Nothing in it made me feel one way or another. I felt completely. Why would I ever want to see that? I just no interest.
Yeah, I do appreciate the fact that they do have a lot of practical effects. Okay, I'll give them that. And it does look good. It does have a budget behind it compared to some of the other Hellraiser sequels, but it really does. It just feels like it's the same kind of film, but just with a different coat of paint and gender swap Pinhead and so on. This comment from Poppy says the trailer feels like the 1988 movie. Yeah, there is a little bit of that too. There is a little bit of the 1988 film in terms of like the visual style anyway. The trailer looked generic. Yeah. That's
what about it reminded of Hellbound Hellraiser 2, because that was the one in 88, right?
Oh yeah, I think he probably meant the 87 film.
But which parts? Like just the Pinhead, or
like maybe just visual style, like the way that scenes are shot, that kind of thing. Am I looking forward to the RoboCop documentary? You mean RoboDoc? Yeah. If and when it ever comes out.
Probably 3 years from now.
Yeah. For sure.
Well, that's another thing. After this, you never mentioned your 2 cents on screen of the whole Aliens documentary.
Oh yeah, the Aliens documentary. Aliens Expanded. I think it's a bunch of bullshit. I didn't know if you wanted to
go with that or with Hellraiser.
I mean, I'll keep on. I'll go back to Hellraiser, but I'll just give my brief thoughts on that, because I wouldn't be surprised if the same people do a Hellraiser thing. Hellraiser Expanded. You know, if this is a hit.
Well, they already did. Well, someone already did it. The Hellraiser 1 and 2 doc from.
I know, but like RoboCop. They'll do. Well, we already have an Aliens documentary that's over 3 hours, so you'd have like Hellraiser Expanded, which will be like, we're gonna explore every scene of the iconic horror film and dissect it, and then we're gonna have streams of like Hellraiser fans talking about.
They'll probably pick like Terminator 2 or Predator or something.
Yeah, but I'm just throwing that out there. Yeah. You know, I wouldn't be surprised if somebody gets that idea, because Aliens Expanded is a hit. It's already made over $100,000. So I wouldn't be surprised if somebody gets inspired and was like, "Oh, I'll do Hellraiser," and then.
But again, they kind of already did that, because the Leviathan's only on Hellraiser 1 and 2, and Hellraiser 1 is pretty lengthy. So they already did that.
Yeah, I'm just saying. Yeah, but I'm just saying it's like the whole sort of thing where it's not really like a documentary, it's an experience, you know, that kind of thing. Because I don't know if Leviathan was the same thing or not. Yeah. Clive Barker's interviews on YouTube. Yeah, the dude he's definitely unique. he's a unique guy, that's for sure. I think a lot of his interviews, he's like smoking a cigarette, like in like almost every single interview I've seen of Clive Barker. But yeah, Aliens Expanded, I think, is a bunch of bullshit. They're charging way too much money. I understand. Oh, you know, sometimes that works out. You know, people, it's the demand or whatever, or it's the market. But I just think, you know, you can do your part to change things and not charge people that much. It's kind of a dick move, especially for the content that you get, which doesn't really seem like it's worth $100, let alone $50 for entry. I don't. That's just me. And then the guy, the way that he acted, like, I mean, I don't know. He wasn't as much of a dick as some other people we've encountered, but
yeah, he wasn't cursing or being a dick like that. No, I give credit to that.
But I
just disagree.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, that whole thing, like, you know, if you're looking forward to a cool, to each your own, that's not really something for me. I wouldn't have time to do all that stuff anyway, and I wouldn't want to watch the lectures in the first place. I mean, why the fuck would I want to do that? Sounds boring. It reminds me of the worst parts of this Hellraiser book that I have, called The Hellraiser Films and Their Legacy, because I like half that book. I like the stuff that talks about the making of the movies, has interviews with people who worked on the films. I like that stuff. The stuff that like talks about the subtext of each film, I do not give two shits about. Yeah, that's a good. I was going to mention that, Mr. Rogers. Constantine 2. It's a surprise. I wasn't expecting this at all. I think Constantine didn't underperform or something for the studio. Yeah. So I'm really surprised that they're doing it and bringing back Keanu and doing a sequel and not just rebooting the entire thing.
I just have doubts after Bill and Ted 3 and Matrix 4.
Yeah, that is a good point.
Hey, John Zero Cool, hope you're doing well. Everyone out there, First Power 100. Hello, everyone out there in the chat.
Yeah, Hellraiser, Predator. Speaking of First Power, Aliens, Terminator, all film franchises should have ended after the second sequel.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Aliens. If they did the William Gibson script, I think you could have had a really awesome Alien 3 and sent off the franchise with a bang. But yeah, but I still like Hellraiser 3. Like, I'm glad Hellraiser 3 exists, if not just for that Motorhead song.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, that's a good point, Samuel Jameson. Matt just made that point. Yeah, what if it sucks like Matrix 4?
Yeah, I just said that.
Too. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, well, Shia LaBeouf, like, his character's not going to be in it.
No.
They're probably gonna recast him or something.
Hellraiser 3 has a Motorhead song, Samuel Jameson. Hellraiser. Right at the end credits, and there's a music video with Pinhead in it.
Yeah.
And Motorhead.
It's pretty awesome.
It's on YouTube.
Cole, worst Hellraiser movie.
Revelations.
Yeah, Revelations. 9. Yeah, with the Michelin Man.
Because it only cost a couple $1,000 because it was done last minute to retain the rights for more years. So they did as cheap as possible. And it's partly found footage.
Oh yeah, I forgot. Yeah, his character did die in
well, after the credits, he became an angel.
Oh, yeah.
After the end credits, there's like a shot where he's like an angel and Constantine sees him.
Mm-hmm.
It's in, not sure it's in the middle or after the credits. It's somewhere around there.
Yeah. But yeah, the Hellraiser films, it is one of those things where they should have just stopped while they were ahead. But, you know, that's what happens with a lot of these franchises. They just keep going because, you know, they got a taste of financial success and money, and so they just want to keep the gravy train rolling.
The crowd loves them, just like they love, you know, Prey and Scream 5 and this Clerks 3. That sounds like the worst thing.
I saw your post, Matt, on Clerks. Speaking of Clerks, might as well talk about Kevin Smith. I don't know if you saw that clip that I shared with you.
Yeah.
You did?
Poor boy bitch.
Yeah, Kevin Smith did a podcast with Pete Holmes, and there's like a clip on the internet, and he's talking about people being too negative on the internet, and it's some of the most cringiest shit I've seen in a while.
Well, it's the most hypocritical because back in the day, he was one of them.
Yeah.
I mean, look up his review of Magnolia, where he just completely tore a new one. Look how he, you know, an evening with Kevin Smith talking about Tim Burton and calling him a weirdo, and John Peters and all these guys, Prince, and the first evening with Kevin Smith. So the guy's a hypocritical soy boy milquetoast. When he sucked the fat out, he sucked his talent and soul out.
Yeah.
I'm glad he's doing well with the heart attack, but I think maybe he's a clone. It's not the real Kevin Smith.
It's like Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
Yeah, he got replaced.
Where are you gonna run?
Kevin Smith's gonna be, where
are you gonna hide?
Where hide? Nowhere. There's no quick stop left.
But yeah, that clip was so hard to listen to, because he was just bitching and just being a crybaby about people being too negative about his films or his content. Like, he had a point in terms of like how some people like are too negative, but he went about it by being just as negative as they are. It was so This
is a guy that back in the day, because he got off the Superman when they were given him a script, he would write "fuck Tim Burton."
Yeah.
So I don't want to hear. I mean, I'll hear from you, but I don't want to hear from Kevin. This BS, because it's completely hypocritical BS.
Well, also at the same time, he went after a YouTuber named Clownfish TV. I think that's his name.
Yeah, He-Man cartoon.
Yeah, for the He-Man cartoon.
And he was right.
Yeah. He completely went after him on social media, has yet to apologize to him. So you're negative too. And him saying, I make a living off of positivity. Not for very much longer if things keep up the way that they are. I mean, he did like a road show for Clerks 3, like did put it on tour and like showed it to campuses.
Time out. Just make a living off positivity. This is a guy that what was it? Red State. He was showing it to critics, and then he said, "Nah, movies are not for critics," and did a whole troll job on them. And said, "Nope, none of you are reviewing the film." His career started by two guys not making fun of, but talking about the Return of the Jedi and Empire Strikes Back, which is better, and being negative on Return of the Jedi and positive on Empire Strikes Back. So, by the way, is also the first film where a guy died jerking off in a fucking toilet.
Yeah.
So,
yeah,
he did a Laserdisc commentary, and the first thing he said was "fuck DVD."
Yeah.
Sorry, Kevin. I've seen your stuff. It's there forever.
Yeah.
It's fine. You want to be more positive, but don't give me this "we are the world," kumbaya horseshit.
Yeah, because it seems like he wants things to be all sunshine and rainbows and candy canes, and that's just not how life is.
He's also a soy boy cuck.
Yeah. And from what I've heard about Clerks 3, it sounds like a pathetic piece of shit. I mean, depressing. Sad. Like, and in a good way.
As depressing as Alien 3.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah, that sounds like the Alien 3, but for the Clerks franchise.
And people loving it because they love Alien 3, so of course. And The Last Jedi.
So thank you, Bobby. Favorite years, decade for video games. Well, since I'm not much of a gamer, that's kind of difficult for me. I would probably say favorite years are probably the years that I remember. Like I grew up during the thick of, probably the 2000s. You know, when Halo came out, and Halo 2, and Indiana Jones, and the Emperor's Tomb, and Mech Assault, and a lot of these other games for the original Xbox, because that's the era that I have the most nostalgia for. Playing multiplayer Halo with my friends, capture the flag, or the whole thing where you're going around trying to shoot each other. I also remember playing GoldenEye with my friends on the Nintendo 64. So 90s a little bit as well, because there are some 90s games like on the Super Nintendo that I have a lot of fond memories of, like Donkey Kong Country, or Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, or Batman Returns. But probably 2000s for me.
Cool.
What about you, Matt?
I'll go with the PlayStation 2 years. Just because it's just over here. Like, these are the games I grew up with and played the most growing up. So I like the Super Nintendo stuff, but I would say PS2 era for me.
Yeah. Good pick. Keeping up with that, favorite decade for movies, 80s. For me, it's just hands down the 1980s. Best decade for horror, in my opinion. Best decade for action. Best decade for science fiction. Best decade for almost any genre you can think of. It was the decade of excess. It was right after the 70s, and they did the Renegade stuff, and they were experimenting on things. But the 80s, it seemed like, at least when it comes to like a special effects and other things, like things advanced to the point where they were able to do stories and do things in ways that you just had never seen before. Also, because of this decade of like excess and cocaine and all this other shit, like it just seemed like there was a little bit more creativity, a little bit more craziness, a little bit more wildness going on in that decade. And I think that definitely did pay off. The 90s, though, is no slouch. I think the 90s doesn't get enough credit, especially when it comes to the horror genre. But I would say 80s for me.
It's tied for me between the 80s and 90s.
Mm-hmm.
I can't choose because I agree all you said the 80s, but the 90s, like some of my favorite action films, Hard Target, Cliffhanger, Demolition Man, Alpha Justice, Speed, Broken Arrow.
Yeah, great decade for action as well. Yeah.
Hard Boiled with John Woo's. Those were 90s.
Yeah.
And even horror, from Jacob's Ladder to the Blair Witch Project to Deep Rising to Split Second to Tremors. Also some of my favorites of the 90s. So
I think a lot of that 80s aesthetic, though, and a lot of that 80s vibe carried over, though, into, the 90s, especially the early to mid 90s. Like, you had a lot of 90s films that had this 80s movie feel or vibe to them, which I think was definitely a positive. And you're seeing a lot of modern films trying to go back to that. And it's understandable. Like, for instance, Day Shift, like that has this kind of 90s 80s movie kind of feel to it. Which
because I saw that film recently, and that'll be an upcoming review because that was a paid request, and I really enjoyed it. It's for me, I think I liked it more than you did. Although the villain is lame, but I love the action. I love Jamie Foxx, and it's in my top 5 of the year for me. For me, it is.
I don't know if I put it that high, but it'd probably be somewhere in the top 10. It's been a really good year so far, surprisingly. That's why
I knew it'd be in the top 5 when they were playing body counts and
I thought of you. When I was hearing that, I'm like, I know Matt's gonna like that. Gonna like that song choice.
Thank you, Luis. Yeah, I put a different poster. Aliens has been up there for so long. I wanted to. That's another great poster.
Yeah, Day Shift is a fun film. I do recommend it. It's got some really great action sequences. The choreography is top notch. It's terrific. The humor, though, is really, and the weak villain, like that's the stuff that just kind of brings it down a little bit for me. I still enjoyed it quite a bit, but I think it could have been great if you just had a stronger villain and just better writing when it comes to like the comedy and the tone. But still a fun movie that I definitely would recommend. A lot better than Project Power, which was so forgettable and boring. And have you seen that one, Project Power, Jamie Foxx?
Didn't see it.
Yeah, not that great. Although what's interesting is it seems like he plays the same character from that movie in Day Shift, because he wears the same wardrobe and he drives the same pool cleaning truck. It's the same fucking truck. I'm like, what is this? What is Day Shift, a sequel somehow to Project Power? Speaking of stuff that I've been watching, like I still haven't finished this yet, but this has to be one of the most boring excuses for a spy thriller I've ever seen in my life. Red Sparrow. It came out like a few years ago with Jennifer Lawrence. Like, it is so boring. Like, I've tried to finish this movie like 3 different times, and each time it just makes me so tired that I just have to go to bed. Because I have the 4K, I got it for cheap at Goodwill, and so I'm in this phase where I'm trying to watch stuff that I know probably won't be that great,
How come you got it?
It was super cheap, and I like collecting 4Ks, and it was a steel book, so I thought it was a pretty good deal. And I was kind of curious about it because I like spy thrillers. So, but like this is just bad. I mean, it's barely any action to speak of in like the entire movie. There are intense scenes, but they have no weight because you don't give a shit about any of the characters or the plot. And it takes itself so seriously, but you got sequences where Jennifer Lawrence's character is going to whore school. That's what it is. It's whore school in Russia, where you learn how to be a whore. And then there's a scene where this guy, I think he's kidding, but it's just so ridiculous. He says the line of dialogue. He says to Jennifer Lawrence, "You've got a magic pussy." I'm like, a magic pussy? What is this shit?
A lie. First off, it's a lie, so it's false advertising. And second off, it's a bad line of dialogue.
It is. It's terrible. Even if it's supposed to be a joke, it's like, what? This film takes itself so seriously, and then you got a line where a guy's talking about a magic pussy. And it seems like a lot of critics at the time when it came out were pussies because they would not give it a lot of negative reviews. Like there were some people who were middling on it, but there were not that many like harsh reviews. But
it reminded them of their sisters, which had magic pussies. I don't know.
But here's the thing: like, it's not just like I like Salt. I think that's a good movie. I'd rather watch Salt if I'm gonna watch something, you know, starring a female that is in the spy thriller genre. Or it actually gave me newfound appreciation for Atomic Blonde. Like, you think that film is boring? Watch Red Sparrow. Thank you, Gabo. Yeah, SNES, PS1, PS2 era. Those are good eras for games. That's for sure. Speaking of reboots, Little Mermaid. I don't care. I feel like Tommy Lee Jones when it comes to these Disney reboots and remakes. Tommy Lee Jones from The Fugitive, just like, I don't care. It's like, I don't care. I've ceased to give a shit anymore.
Hypocrisy. I think like he means like if I did let's see, since I reviewed this movie, I do a Medea movie, but I cast a white guy as Medea.
Yeah.
Will you think that would go?
No.
Without controversy?
Absolutely not.
And I cast, I don't know, Jack Black as Medea or something.
Yeah, that definitely would not work out. That's for sure.
That fucking movie. Those movies.
Yeah, I saw that you reviewed another one. I'm like, man, is somebody just gonna start paying you to review all of them?
Hey. If it happens, it happens. Let's do it. That's the one would say in Tango and Cash. Let's do it.
Let's do it. Least favorite decade for movies. Maybe the 2010, maybe the 2010s. Maybe
for me, it's now
2020s. Yeah, maybe 2020s. Bullshit. Yeah, the agenda bullshit is really tough.
The latest sequels, agenda-driven bullshit, and I'm just Marvel has sucked so much dry.
Well, that did kind of start in the 2010s. That's what I'm.
Well, it's gotten worse past couple years.
Well, yeah, with the rise of the streaming, Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Now, I would say like a decade. Obviously, it's hard to say that there's only been 2 years of this decade. So I'm just thinking like the past 10 years is what I'm thinking.
Yeah. Well, since the rise of the streaming services, that's definitely been a problem because now you're just getting so much of the same stuff, and just Marvel is spreading itself so thin. You've got She-Hulk twerking with Megan Thee Stallion and all this other fucking bullshit. She-Hulk sounds like a horrible, just embarrassingly bad show. And I was one of the few people that didn't mind the trailer initially because stupid me, I thought that they might have a clue and like, you know, do some clever satire or something, but no.
Hulk being a Steve Urkel pussy.
Mm-hmm.
That She-Hulk is better just like that. Has a fight at the end of the first episode 10 seconds long, and she does just beats it. I only saw the first episode, folks, because
well, I mean, in the comics, She-Hulk and Hulk fought, and Hulk easily handled her. Like it wasn't even remotely close. Well, of course not. Of course not. Not going to do that. And She-Hulk's also a show that has like a character in it that's like a lawyer, and he's like the most stereotypical misogynistic asshole guy you could think of, to the point where if it was satire, it would be funny, but the writers aren't clever enough to actually make it satire. So they're just acting like this guy is a real example of a man in society.
Well, I doubt these writers even know how to write. They probably just tell the script in their phone.
Yeah.
With all the misspellings and all, and they just print it out and go, there you go. I bet they don't know how to type.
No, they just come up with an agenda first in their head. They're like, okay, what agenda do I want to get across in this episode? And then everything else they just lazily type up later.
No IQ needed for the job.
Apparently not. I'll just stick with John Byrne's comics. Thank you very much. Do I agree with Matt regarding 95% of movies sucking today?
I'll go maybe 90%.
Yeah, 90. I because this year's been surprising, so I wouldn't go 95%, but yeah.
This year's actually been pretty good, at least to me, other than fucking Prey and everything I hear about Clerks. 3's dumbass.
Thank you once again, Gabo. Yeah, Mortal Kombat. Yeah, it definitely does feel like a marriage of 80s and 90s. Absolutely. But then again, the video game kind of had that vibe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because this year, I mean, I was mentioned before, I liked Day Shift, I liked Bullet Train, I liked Nope. I didn't think I would like that one.
I still need to see Nope.
They're not perfect movies, but I liked them. I liked it better than Us.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, Sonic 2 I liked. I liked quite a decent amount.
Yeah. I don't think we like this movie. Faster with The Rock. We're like slower, right?
Yeah, there's nothing fast in that movie except maybe how fast he catches paycheck.
Yeah, you're right, Mr. D-Man. It is. Red Sparrow is a cure for insomnia. Red Snoozer. That's the name for it. The Red Snoozer. And yeah, I agree, Juno. Very overrated actress. At least from what I've seen in this. Her Russian accent sounded faker than shit, and the way that she acted in it was also another reason why I didn't like her character and didn't feel very sympathetic towards this character, even though she's been through a lot. Because it's just very robotic. Like there's a whole scene where she strips naked during the horror school, which honestly, horror school just sounds like a porn. There probably is a porn. There's probably a whole porn series called Horror School. But yeah, she strips naked, and even that is boring. She makes nudity boring in that movie. Yeah, Dog Soldiers. I've heard about that, the 4K release. I know Scream Factory is also doing one.
Although I think Scream Factory, there's like audio issues. That's what I heard. So if I would get one, I would get the 4K. I would like to, but it's just bills and stuff come first.
I'd probably go with Screen Factory first. I mean, not Screen Factory. I meant to say Second Sight, because Second Sight is a little bit better reputation as of late, and it's really their transfer to begin with. Shout Factory is just borrowing it.
Mm-hmm. I wonder. I was gonna say, I wonder if that would happen with The Hitcher, but probably not.
Probably not. I think The Hitcher and Martin are probably just going to be exclusive to Second Sight. Similar to like Drive, Second Sight did a 4K of Drive, and no one else is doing Drive.
When it comes out, I will get The Hitcher.
I would recommend Drive too. I know you like that movie. I recommend getting that too. Like it's a really good looking transfer. The features are not like the best in the world, but like I don't know.
That's fine.
Well, thanks again, Gabo. Like, why do I have a gut feeling the ruined Daredevil now? Well, they already have him wearing his lame yellow suit, which I always thought sucked. So I don't know. But I mean, they probably will. The writers will probably do some shit and fuck him up. They already don't know how to write legal dialogue to save their lives in terms of a show dealing with lawyers. So they're gonna fuck up Matt Murdock and make him look like a fucking dumbass.
Yeah.
Speaking of Daredevil, I really do need to check out that series, but the one with that was on Netflix, but I haven't seen it. Yeah,
I've only seen the first season. I liked it, but they'll probably do a female called She Devil.
We already have that movie.
Roseanne has a cameo in the movie.
That's a cameo in the series. So I was the original She Devil. Damn it. Just looking through your comments, folks. Yeah, going back to Disney destroying things, Pinocchio. Yeah, I've heard a lot of really bad things about that one. Like that's one of like the worst recent Disney remakes out there.
I've heard nothing about it. I know it's out. I know Tom mentions it. I've heard nothing else about it.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know what makes it bad or what.
I've just heard like it's just incredibly generic and pointless and boring and adds nothing new to the story and doesn't have the same magic as the animated film. But then again, we've had so many Pinocchio movies. Like, is it really more horrifying than Roberto Benigni's Vanity Project, where he played young Pinocchio in his 40s or 50s or whatever, however the fuck old he was? This one's for you, Matt. Like, did you ever pick up the Arrow Video Blu-rays for Hellraiser?
No. I like the first three Hellraiser, but it's not a franchise or movies that I watch a lot. Like, I like them, but if I see them, it'd probably be like once every 5 years, maybe. Because other franchises, horror, I would say I was more into Elm Street, Friday the 13th than Hellraiser. But, I like them, but I don't really need the Arrow Video Blu-rays.
Yeah, I have seen Twisted Pair. Isn't that the one with fucking
Neil Breen?
Neil Breen? Yeah, that twisted my balls right into my asshole. I hated that film so fucking bad. I hate Neil Breen. Fuck Neil Breen. And Disaster Movie, yeah, I saw that years ago too. That was just unfunny and just all kinds of shit. Yeah, it was about as funny and worthwhile as a senior skit. If you are familiar with remember high school, from those of you who were who graduated in like the 2000s, you'd have like these skits that you would do with your senior or your junior with your class. Yeah, it was about as funny as those. In fact, I think some of those were funnier. And that's saying a lot.
It's funny as Clerks 3.
Yeah, I've heard it's not funny, it's just sad. It's a real tear jerker, Matt.
Unless it's Tears of Anger, I don't buy it. Well, Kevin Smith knows about tears, so it makes sense.
Yeah.
He's used to it by now.
Mm-hmm.
Cries at every damn trailer.
Should Cobra 2 happen, Matt?
Too late.
Mm-hmm.
I love Stallone, despite I'm not a fan of his recent work, no, but if Cobra was made instead of Judge Dredd,
mm-hmm.
that was what, 95? That would give in, a decent amount of years, almost 10 years, 9 years later, so it wouldn't be too long, wouldn't be too short. It's in the 90s, you have a bit more technology, but nowadays, no. And Stallone also, he doesn't make sense to me, because I swear there was a time he hated Cobra, and then he did that unboxing of the figure, and then he's like, it's my third favorite character. And I'm like, oh, you didn't like the movie, but
yeah, okay. I do remember some interview. Like, was that the same one where he talked about Over the Top, and he talked about how bad that was?
I have a vague memory. I can't remember the details, but maybe he loves it because he's selling the figure, $300 figure. But
it's $300.
Yeah.
God damn! I love Marion Cobretti, but not that much.
but I would love to have seen it happen, but it's too late. Just too late.
I agree. I agree. It definitely is a little, a little late in the game for Cobra 2. Speaking of Cobra, though, Cobra Kai, I like it. I know Matt is not going to agree with me, and that's fine.
I've only seen the first season, and it wasn't for me, and just the concept just isn't for me. So it don't matter to me.
Yeah. But I feel you on the first season. Like, I thought the first season was just kind of there. It got really good for me, like halfway through season 3, when Daniel went back to Okinawa and reunited with Kumiko, and had the whole bit with Chosen, and that's where Kumiko shared some letters from Miyagi. Like that was like a moment where I was like, wow, like that was really good. And then from that point on, I think the series got pretty good. I mean, even Terry Silver, won me over in Cobra Kai, because his whole over the top bad guy stuff worked within Cobra Kai, because Cobra Kai had a more consistent tone. Like, the tone was more comic booky to begin with, so there was a little bit more of an over the top sort of nature throughout the series. So it wasn't something that was as jarring as it was in Karate Kid Part 3. Because Karate Kid Part 3 is like the first two films, like, they weren't like super serious, but they were still very much dramas. And there weren't really a lot of characters that were as mustache twirling and comic book bad guy as Terry Silver in the first two films.
I just don't care about these new young fucks, and I still think it's sad that, Daniel, after 30 years now, whatever, is still dealing with this high school shit. I think that's kind of sad to be dealing with that in your 50s.
But there is a point in the series where they move past it, and both Daniel and Johnny, they grow and become better, characters, better men, that kind of thing.
But they're still dealing with Terry Silver and Cobra Kai.
Yeah.
Apparently, even in season 6 with another tournament, but this time is what, a world tournament?
Sekai Taikai, yeah.
Street Fighter tournament fighters, whatever. That's cool if people like it. Just not interested.
And that's fine. That's totally fine. No worries at all. But yeah, I've enjoyed it. Season 5, I would say, like, it was almost perfect until it tried to do this nonsense where Kreese is back again. I'm like, we already went through Kreese being the main villain in this series. Like, I think they wrote themselves into a corner, the writers, with season 5. Like, they wrapped up every major plot point, everything that was going on in the series in terms of these characters and their arcs. Daniel kicked Silver's ass. Like, I don't really think that there's anywhere you can really go with this other than the tournament. But I mean,
Hillary Swank.
It's even with that, I'm like, I don't really like the next Karate Kid. I think is better than its reputation suggests, but at best, it's just average.
But you know that's what they're doing.
Yeah, I know.
You know.
I know that's what they're doing. But I don't know. I like season 4 the best, to be perfectly honest. That was my favorite season so far.
Cool. Real quickly, I had to answer one quick question before that. Monovol, I'm glad there's no Collector 3. I'm glad it got canceled. Collector 2 ended it perfectly. There's no need for a third one. It just screwed up the perfect ending of the second one. I'm glad it got canceled. Thank the Lord. Hallelujah. But go ahead.
Thank you, Gabba, once again. What if they ruin Daredevil and make us like the 2003 film even more? Well, no, people will still hate on the 2003 movie.
Yep.
Like that'll still happen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, there's nowhere else to go. Season 5 should be the last. But it won't be. And they're doing another Karate Kid film, because I heard about that. It's like a reboot that Sony's doing another reboot. It doesn't even tie into Cobra Kai, which is a surprisingly successful, popular series. Which I know you're not a fan of Cobra Kai, but you have to admit the logic here is pretty baffling on Sony's part to not make that movie a Cobra Kai tie-in, because that's already the established fan base that is into Karate Kid right now. A lot of the buzz around Karate Kid lately is due to Cobra Kai. It makes no sense to make another Karate Kid reboot with Pat Morita gone and what? You're gonna have Daniel, but like he's not gonna be the same Daniel as he was in Cobra Kai. Like it just doesn't make any fucking sense for them to do the reboot route again.
Well, I mean, some people were asking. What I read is that the guys behind the show know nothing about that.
Yeah, so they know nothing about it. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's not connected. That's what I'm saying. It doesn't make sense to me that Sony is not making this a Cobra Kai spinoff.
Look how much the remake made. Whether you hate the movie, you looked at the box office, it was insane.
Yeah, it was.
I'm surprised it wasn't a sequel. And so they see that this show's a hit, so they don't. Of course, they don't reboot it again because they're going to sell the name.
But I don't
think the show you're watching now.
Yeah,
you like it? Come watch this. You'll be curious, even if you hate it. You'll be curious. Give them your money. Even if you don't hate on it, don't give them your money.
I actually think it's not going to do as well as the remake did, especially since it's not connected to Cobra Kai. Like, there's going to be a lot of Cobra Kai fans who are just like, fuck this. Like, I would have been interested. I would have went and saw it if it was tied into the show, but
I don't give a shit about a reboot. People love that one.
Yeah. But
Disney Star Wars movies.
Speaking of Scream, there was a Scream TV show too that's pretty much been forgotten about. But yeah, I agree. I'm tired of the reboots and remakes and sequels too. Like it feels like a really sad case of deja vu for me and Matt, because we did like old school, just audio only, like podcast style rants.
2014, remember?
Yeah, 2014. Yeah. Or even earlier than that.
Yeah.
Talking about the same fucking shit. Like the next reboot, the next remake, the next sequel, and here we are in 2022, and it's the same stuff.
The Thing prequel.
Yeah,
when we talked about that.
Mm-hmm.
The podcast me and Mike did is still on my channel. It's audio only, but it's from 2014 where we talked about RoboCop remake and the Ninja Turtles Michael Bay produced was coming out the same year. And they're like 2 hour favorite, my favorite and his favorite franchise.
Yeah.
And they both got
fucked they both got foobarred and
that's almost 10 years ago. 8 years ago.
Yeah. Keanu Reeves is open for Speed 3, and yeah, I'm like, no thank you as well, Monteval. We don't need a third Speed. Like, no. What is it going to be on? Plane?
I don't know what you could do. They did Speed 3. It's called Crank.
Yeah.
Go watch Jason Statham's Crank. There's your Speed 3.
Exactly.
You gotta keep your body going. Don't slow down.
Yeah. Yeah. That was a classic. We don't get it. I think that's what it's called. Was that what it was called?
The only one I remember doing that is when we talk about Room 237.
Oh yeah. that was a classic video, though. Room 237. You know, like, we actually slowly lost our minds by the end of the podcast. Because that shit is just so crazy. Ridiculous.
We warned people about these reboots and stuff. We warned them a decade ago. No one wanted to listen to us.
No.
There are exceptions. There's always exceptions to every single thing. Always exceptions, but
like with the upcoming Hellraiser reboot, like, it has to be like great for it to justify its existence to me. Like a great movie.
Come on, Mike, it's better than the last 4.
No, that's not enough for me. I'm sorry. That's lowered expectations. I'm not a part of that gang or that crowd.
What you expect, an Oscar winner?
No.
Just enjoy the film.
I just expect a good film. I'm not expecting average. I don't want average. I don't want average because I've already gotten average with the Hellraiser franchise.
You're just a hater. You hate everything.
I hate everything, and I like Cobra Kai. Okay. All right.
You just like Cobra Kai because everybody else does. It's always like it's something else someone says. It's like, you can't please.
No.
You can't win.
No, absolutely. No win scenario. Yeah, that's a good point. The new Hellraiser is called Hellraiser.
Like Halloween.
Mm-hmm.
The new Halloween was called Halloween. 2018. You have to say Halloween. The Theme was called The Theme. Prequel. Yep. We said that back in 2011. Why is it called The Theme? You know what? I thought of a title. The Theme. Ground Zero.
Yeah.
Might not be great, but it's better than just The Theme.
Yeah, or you could have done stuff, taken a title from like one of the Dark Horse comics or something. Like there's options you could have done. Just like with Alien. Like, what do you think about Alien, the Alien TV series or whatever that Hulu is doing?
What do you do with a TV show? Every week they find a xenomorph and kill one, or a bunch of lame characters, and xenomorphs are racist. Like that one dumbass professor who said xenomorphs and predators means racist.
Oh yeah, I remember that. I remember that fucking article.
That stupid ass professor, by the way.
Yeah.
But the people made them racist. They're so somehow a xenomorph and a predator represents a black guy. This was a black professor who said this. He just paid to teach kids.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, wow.
Maybe
but with the Alien series, I don't have much hope at all, considering what's been going on with Prey and all this other stuff, and what's happened to the Alien franchise for decades. But if they actually did take the Dark Horse comics and adapted some of those stories into like an anthology kind of show, like an American Horror Story, where you take one of the Dark Horse comic storylines.
When have they ever done anything like that, though?
I know, but I'm just saying.
With your Predator, with your Prey.
I know. That's I know. That's why I said I have no hope that they're going to do that. But if they did, then there's potential. But that's the problem. They won't.
Because they think they're smarter.
Yeah.
They're doing their own stuff, which is dog piss.
Mm-hmm.
Look at all the praise Prey got.
Mm-hmm.
It was, to me, bottom of the barrel, cheap.
Or the Mortal Kombat reboot, where there's no tournament. It's called Mortal Kombat, but there's no tournament in the film.
Well, you'll get in the sequel, so look forward to that, Gabbo. The Return of Johnny Cage.
Will Ferrell is like, looking forward to Halloween Ends. I mean, that's not one of my favorite franchises, horror franchises. I definitely don't love all the Halloween films except the Rob Zombie ones. It's cool if you do, but like, I like the first film, the second one, the third one, the fourth one, H2O, and Halloween Kills is like a time waster to me for the kills. But other than that, no. I hate 5. 6, it doesn't matter which version you watch, it sucks. It's similar to Alien 3. Well, you gotta watch the extended version. No, it still sucks. It's just longer. and bad in different ways.
Can I watch the non-shit version?
Exactly.
No? Then I'm not interested.
I don't get it. The producer's cut, the theatrical cut, doesn't matter what cut of Halloween 6 you watch. It sucks. It doesn't make the cut.
Halloween Kills sucked, in my opinion.
That's cool.
I know you
like
it more. I think that sucked dick, and Halloween 2018 sucked ass, and this one will suck balls. It's all a matter of suckage. Screw them all up of Pine Tree. Halloween Kills was a bunch of dumb motherfuckers going, duh, we're gonna look for Michael Myers, duh. How do we kill him, duh? We're just gonna stand around him, duh. We got a bunch of guns. Guns are, you don't have to be 2 feet to shoot a gun. Duh. Michael Myers fails, we get killed, duh. And then Halloween 2018, all that preparing for what? I got all these 50 guns.
Yep.
And what happened? She got her put in a fucking hospital, and Michael Myers killed half the town.
But in like Halloween 2018, like that film, it is Halloween greatest hits. Now that's what I call Halloween. That's what that movie is. It's like, here are the greatest hits of the Halloween franchise all in one movie. And the new stuff they add is not nearly as interesting because to me it's done better in H2O. And on top of that, you got really stupid shit that I don't think enough people are criticizing, like the fucking crazy doctor, the new Dr. Loomis.
You know, Will Patton got stabbed and ran over with a car and was perfectly fine in 10 minutes?
That as well.
He got ran over by a car, and people forget about that. Will Patton, the sheriff. Go watch Halloween 2018 again. Not only does he get stabbed like 5 times, he got ran over by a car.
And
then in the next film, he's like, and then he's like fine, ready to kiss Laurie Strode.
Yeah, and speaking of Halloween Ends, Monteval. Yeah, I heard about it. That's the rumor I'm hearing, is that it's an imposter killer thing. Like, it's like Friday the 13th Part 5, new beginning.
But hi to everyone in the chat. QJC, Luis, John Steele, Resleed. Hello, everyone. Again, can't see the chat too much. Mike is hosting, but thanks for coming by, everyone.
Yeah, but
I wouldn't be surprised that happens. I mean, I saw them Friday 30th. Halloween Resurrection did that. So they steal everything else. I don't want to steal the ultimate Halloween Resurrection.
Exactly.
They've stolen everything else in these past couple films.
But I mean, the whole idea, it's like some guy who's bullied and then becomes the new Michael Myers. That's the Return to Sleepaway Camp. What's next? Is the guy going to talk about, how people's asses stink?
Your ass stinks. Michael Myers' ass stinks.
Oh, so dumb.
I saw that. It's called Friday the 13th Part 5 with Imposter.
Another donation from Gabo. Thanks, man. Is MK2 going to be any good, though? I'm not saying no, but it's off to a shaky start. Yeah, it is. I mean, if all they got is just gore, that's not going to be enough for me. Like, I need some, like, really good fights, you know, better characterization, better comic relief than Kano, because I don't understand why. He was hilarious. He was great. I'm like, I laughed at, like, maybe once or twice. I'll take Goddard's Kano over that guy any day of the week. Rest in peace, Goddard. I think that's his last name.
Mm-hmm.
Pineapple Moon, Howling 4. Yeah, the Howling franchise. That's another franchise. It's like, we didn't need more Howling movies. Like, the first film wasn't even really great to me. Like, it had great special effects, but not the best writing, not the best story. Like, there are other Joe Dante films I like a lot more than The Howling. And Howling 2 is just hilarious. I mean, Red Brown shooting werewolves and yelling at them at, super high decibels. Although that should have been the movie. That should have been the whole movie. Then it would have been a masterpiece. It was just Red Brown.
But I'll say that Howling 2 to me is my favorite. I've never been big on the first one. Good effects, that's good score, that's pretty much it. I don't care about the story, don't care about the cast.
Howling 3
ending with the puppy dog werewolf.
Yeah, the ending in that original Howling is such a bad. Like, I remember when I first saw that film, because I didn't know anything about the ending. I just heard how good it is from friends and other books that I read, and then I checked it. I got it from Goodwill, and then I watched it, and I didn't mind it. It was cool to see Robert Picardo as a killer, and then the transformation effects of Rob Bottin. And then you got to the ending, and I was just laughing my ass off. I was like, "What? She turns into a werepoodle? What is this shit?"
Yeah, do I want to see Red Brown shooting the shit out of werewolves? Yes. Do I want to see D-Walls turn to a puppy dog? No.
No.
While a bunch of other random people danced naked in their weird hippie werewolf cult, whatever the hell it was, in the woods. Kumbaya and shit.
Kevin Smith might as well have been a part of that werewolf cult.
If that movie was about Robert Picardo as a serial killer, and you find out it's a werewolf, and you have like Robert Forster and Dee Wallace.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
It's about Robert Forster, like how he did the Banker.
If you're gonna do the Howling reboot, do something like that.
Get Brad Dourif as the retired cop, and his daughter's dead. And
I'll take something like Night of the Lone Wolf. I think that's what it was called. Late Phases. That's it. Yeah, Late Phases. I'll take something like that over the original Howling. Howling 3. Howling 3, The Marsupials is kind of a batshit crazy movie that I can kind of watch as a time waster. Howling 4, though, God, so boring. The original Nightmare, like, there's no werewolf until like the last, I think, 5 minutes or some shit. Yeah, it's closer to the original novel. Well, if that's the case, the original novel sucks. if that's the plot that the original novel is working with. Howling 5, like, it's I've seen worse, but it's not that great either. It's a whodunit film with a werewolf. That was done better in a movie called The Beast Must Die from back in the day. If I want to see that kind of thing, I'll just watch The Beast Must Die than Howling 5, which is like a super cheap, low budget version of that. And then Howling 6, The Freaks, like, I can watch that one as a time waster too. Some decent performances. It's kind of there. Like, it's not good, but like compared to some of the other Howling sequels, I could definitely take that one. And then New Moon Rising. Oh my god. With Pappy and his chili and fucking line dancing from hell. Some of the worst werewolf effects I've ever seen in my entire life.
It's one of the worst movies ever. And thanks, Monoval. Yeah, I do remember I ranted on that. It's still up on the channel. It's still one of the worst movies ever. Howling 7.
Absolutely.
Still one of the worst.
so fucking shitty, so bad.
Well, folks out there, the idea Mike to review the Amityville films, all 80 of them, 85 of them.
No, that'd be like doing witchcraft.
Or there's more Amityville now.
Yeah, there is like Amityville in the hood.
Hood Eater did Amityville.
Amityville in space. Amityville Karen. Amityville. Yeah. The Amityville murders.
Found footage. Good luck.
For me, the only Amityville films there are is like the first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth. I think like what the remake and like the Awakening. Like those are the only ones for me. Huh. I don't know why. Where did Matt go? Okay, hold on one second. What the heck was that? Melon?
I don't know.
It's like, we've had enough of it. Enough of this guy over here. Amityville Reborn. Yeah, I think there is an Amityville Reborn. There probably is.
There's the Awakening, whatever it's called.
Yeah, I've seen the basket case films. I like the first one the best. That one's a cult classic. It's definitely worthy of it. I really enjoyed that one. Probably not my favorite Frank Henenlotter film. I would say I actually like Brain Damage the most. But I still like Basket Case. Basket Case 2 was disappointing. I really wanted to like Basket Case 2, but it was just kind of there. I think one of the things about Basket Case 2 is that it just seemed like it hey Matt, are you? It seemed like you might be. Yeah. I almost thought you were frozen for a second.
Oh no, I was late.
Oh okay.
I was looking.
All right. But yeah, Basket Case 2, some decent effects, but it just felt it lacked the sleaze and the edge that the first film had, and it just didn't. It didn't really work as well. I liked the third film more. That had a little bit more of the craziness that I liked in the first movie. I mean, the whole bit with Belial and what it might as well be the thing that Ripley was in. What was the power loader? Because it looked like it was like the Belial's version of the power loader from Aliens. I'm surprised they haven't remade Basket Case. They probably thought about it. Yeah.
Give them time.
Yeah. So what are your thoughts on the Basket Case?
Maniacs, that film sucks.
Yeah, that film is shit.
But Basket Case 1 I like, 2, I agree with you, disappointing. 3 was there, but you only needed, to me, one Basket Case.
Yeah.
You didn't need sequels.
Yeah.
And maybe Brain Damage would be my favorite, or Frankenhooker.
Frankenhooker's a classic as well. That one's kind of it's not really the film's fault, but that Frankenhooker's is kind of a bittersweet thing with me because my late friend Shonda, who passed away of cancer, like that was one of her favorite films, and like she loved that movie, and even met the Patty Mullen, and I think she even dressed up as Frankenhooker for Halloween one year. So that's just kind of a bittersweet thing for me. But it's not that film's fault at all. Yeah, Gore, the Ink Spot. Yeah, I remember Gore. There's actually two of them. There's Gore and there's Outlaw of Gore. Now, Gore, they're based on like really old books that I think were around the same time as like the John Carter of Mars book series. That's a series you could remake with a budget. I don't know.
If they did today, it'd be Conan the Barbarian remake.
Or it'd be Rings of Power. It'd be something like that.
I guess. I don't know nothing about it because I don't give a crap about Lord of the Rings. Never did. So
I think if you ever did see that, you still wouldn't be a big fan of Lord of the Rings, but I think you'd probably like the Lord of the Rings films more than Rings of Power.
I'm sure, but it's like I don't care about the books. I don't care about the movies. I just don't care.
I will just take Willow. I'll take Willow. I like the Lord of the Rings films more than you, but I'll take Willow over that. Now the Willow TV series, I don't know.
I'll take Acid over that. Over Rings of Power.
Michael, I haven't seen the Adam Project. I'm curious about it though. I like Ryan Reynolds. Have you seen that one?
I'd rather take the Rings of a Donut Butthole than watch fucking Rings of Power.
The anal beads, huh?
Yeah, the anal beads. She's anal clean. She's fresh. She's over 30. She works. Adam Project I haven't seen. That's the Ryan Reynolds.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't seen it.
Barbarian. I don't know. I'll wait to see that when it comes to streaming.
Didn't see it. Don't know much about it, honestly.
Yeah. The Fog coming out in 4K from Scream Factory. Is it going to have foggy cases? Or the cases going to be fogged up?
You know, I know in retrospect that's more and more with just 4 cases in general. Yeah. I just didn't care for the response of just clean it. Just wipe it with a Kleenex. Yeah. I
wouldn't use a Kleenex either. Like use a microfiber cloth. Like if you have
that's one. That's what they said.
Otherwise, like that's not going to do anything.
To be fair, that's what they said.
But. And also, it's not their fault. It's not really something that it's exclusive to Scream Factory. I think that is a little lame that people were like, I didn't like, oh, like I'm not saying you.
I did. No, I did because I blame other shit on them too. So
yeah,
that's just top of the shit cake.
Yeah.
But I did. I said I'll admit it, and I'll say it again.
But I mean, I understand it though, because at that time it wasn't really as well known that there were these other issues with other companies.
Also, just like dog shit features,
as well.
They're just releasing every goddamn movie they have on 4K.
Yeah.
Or everything I hear about the featured Child's Play sounds like ass.
Yeah. Really speaking of the Fog, I think it's the same transfer from Studio Canal. Like they didn't do anything new with it. It's just the same thing, and I already have that. I have the Studio Canal 4K.
Just they're fucking lazy. I'll stream. You might as well call Stream Factory because they're taking the piss out of you. Just stealing your money. I like a lot of their stuff. Watchers 2 is still my favorite Blu-ray of the year because that's a childhood favorite of mine. I'm so glad they got released. Mm-hmm. But goddamn, man.
Yeah, the foggy casing. Yeah, that's what I was going to mention is that Paramount was doing with that. I have the 4K 6-film Star Trek set, and it had that in there. Although I recently got this though in the mail, Poltergeist, and there's nothing in this case.
They put in no features.
Yeah, yeah. There's just a warning, an epilepsy warning. That's your special feature, an epilepsy warning on the slipcover and inside the case.
Yep, that's the only special feature. There's nothing else on there, right?
They finally ported over the featurette that was like 8 minutes from the Laserdisc, and then they ported over the 2 documentaries that nobody gives a shit about real life ghost hunters.
Was it Taps? But different ghost hunters.
But yeah, like Poltergeist, I'm glad it got a 4K. The film has been in need of a new remaster for a long time, but it's still a bummer that we still have to deal with the shit with Steven Spielberg and his lawyers and basically not allowing Warner Brothers or anyone to do anything with Poltergeist when it comes to any sort of substantial special features, at least for the first film. No interviews with Richard Edlund, no interviews with anyone involved with the cast or the crew, because somebody might let something slip and talk about, Toby Hooper or whatever. I don't know what that must be the thing. That must be it. That Steven directed more of the film than he was legally supposed to, and that's why he's so adamant about this, even to this day. But it's a bummer because I love that film. It's one of my favorites, and it deserves better. It deserves better in home video. And then there's proof out there that interviews were shot. Like Richard Edlund, he actually did sit down for an interview for the special edition from back in the day. Like there's evidence. There's receipts. And there's also receipts that Joe Beth Williams might have done it too. So it's just, those will never see the light of day. But the Curse of Poltergeist, the True Hollywood Story thing came out, which I was shocked. But that might be one of those things where Spielberg's like, well, it's a network show. It's not going to be sold. It's only going to be airing a few times on network TV. And like his sister was in it. So maybe that was it too. It's like, well, my sister's in it, so I can't ban that. Because then my sister would be mad at me. But yeah, it sucks that there's still no extensive features for such a classic film. They look great. The 4K transfers on the Star Trek films are fantastic. I would say it's definitely worth picking up one of these days if you're a fan of those films, for sure. Yeah, Ghost Hunter shows suck ass. Yeah, it's like an hour of nothing. Exactly.
Yeah.
I do admit I didn't mind Paranormal State, which was on A&E. I haven't seen that in a while, though. Honestly, I'd rather just watch Haunting. The ones where it's like, in a way, it's kind of like an anthology show where you have like a version, like it's a filmed version with a script and actors of some supposed real haunting, spliced in with interviews with parapsychologists and people who were involved with the haunting. I'd rather watch that series.
I just watched those videos on YouTube where people explore like an abandoned hotel in Japan or something.
Yeah.
Or a ghost town.
Saving Private Ryan. I did get a request for that film, and I will try to get a review of that uploaded by the end of the month. I liked it. I didn't love it though. Like I just, a little too long, and I don't know. Like there's other war films I liked more, like 1917, for instance, or Hacksaw Ridge, but there are some things in that are just spectacular. Like the opening sequence with the beach, like that is some of the most harrowing, visceral stuff you will ever see. And Spielberg really outdid himself with that scene. But I don't think there was anything else in the film that came close to being as good as that sequence.
Yeah, I don't think he stole anything for that one.
No.
Wasn't Steven Spielberg that time.
Definitely not. Yeah, Scream Factory, they've gone downhill in quality. They used to have a bunch of, higher quality documentaries. They had Red Shirt Pictures involved, and now they cheaped out and they hired some guy who I don't think does nearly as good of a job. And they're not even providing reversible cover art for a lot of their new 4Ks. So that's pretty lame too.
Yeah.
Doing pretty good. It's always a good time when I get to spend some time with my friend. Yeah, Enemy of the State, that's a solid one. That's a good flick. That's a good movie with Will Smith and Gene Hackman. Definitely a pretty good thriller.
Yeah, it's a good movie. That was before Will Smith got his soul sucked out by Jada Pinkett.
Yeah.
He sucked it right out of his dick and put it right into his son's friend's boy hole. Booty hole. Right on the red carpet.
Yeah, man, that's sad. Speaking of Gene Hackman, I watched a film with him and Dustin Hoffman recently for the first time. Runaway Jury. Have you seen that one, Matt?
I might have. It's been a long time though.
I liked it. It was surprisingly good. John Cusack's also in it. Rachel Weisz. That was one of the better jury trial thrillers I've seen. Gene Hackman was just great as the villain. It's such an asshole, but he was so just effortless and so good at it that you just loved every scene he was in. Like there's a scene with him and Dustin Hoffman where he just basically admits to Dustin Hoffman's character that he's a prick and he doesn't give a shit. And I loved it. It was great. It was like, the thing is, I don't give a shit. Dustin Hoffman's trying to give him a moral speech and talk about his morality, and Gene Hackman's character is like, I don't give a shit.
The Enemy of the State is a really good film. It's a underrated movie. Good thriller by Tony Scott.
Yeah. Yeah, the opening beach sequence at Saving Private Ryan, it was horrific. It definitely was. Even more so in 4K with Atmos and like the surround sound that I had. Like it was rough. It was good though.
Hey, Jack Frost, hope you're doing well. I was just going to say, I think he has a question for you too after that.
Okay.
This one.
Yeah, Saving Private Ryan should have won Best Picture instead of Shakespeare in Love. I agree with that. I don't know. Like, maybe. I guess. I mean, I took astrology. No, not astrology. I don't think it was called astrology, but I've taken classes dealing with topics like that in college. So, sure. I'd be open to it.
Evening, topics, Jack Frost.
For topics, Jack, I tend to like charge a little bit extra, like for like 10 instead of 5. So it's just up to you. Jada Pinkett is Shang Tsung. The soul is mine. John Cusack, the guy who hates every film he's been in. I don't think that's entirely accurate, but it's sadly somewhat accurate for sure. Yeah.
And High Fidelity.
Yeah.
And the movie that he has, The Radio.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember. I don't think I've seen it. I
saw it. I reviewed it, and I'm not a big fan of it. I thought it was pretty boring, forgettable, way too long, way too goddamn long.
So seems like a rather watch that or Cocktail?
Give me Cocktail, man. Fucking Cocktail with Tom Cruise any day of the week. Seems like if John Cusack doesn't like any of his films, I don't think he enjoys being an actor. He's just retire instead. Oh, maybe it's just paying the bills type thing. Money. Yeah. Rest in peace, Tony Scott. Yeah, I miss Tony Scott. Mm-hmm. I really do. It was an unbelievably tragic and sad, how his life ended. I don't think they still know exactly what was going on. Like, I think
there was something wrong with his brain.
Yeah, there's a brain thing. Yeah,
I think not the same, but it sounded like similar to what happened with Robin Williams.
Yeah, that's what it's. Yeah, it's similar sort of thing. But yeah, Tony Scott to me, I actually like him. I like his directorial output more than Ridley Scott.
Same here.
Sleepy Hollow. I like Sleepy Hollow. I actually watched that for a film class in college, and I wrote an essay about Tim Burton and Sleepy Hollow. And I got an A. And the teacher like even wrote notes like, I really loved reading this. It was really entertaining. I love reading your thoughts on films. E.T. or the Na'vi, which is creepier to me? E.T. Wrinkly ball sack with human teeth. Yeah. Way creepier.
I would go with I know it's to Mike, but I would go with the Na'vi because they look like if a human was born sideways.
Okay.
And then they were in the stomach for so long, they turned so blue because they had no air. And they're blue.
They don't have like the long finger, though, where you don't know where it's been and glows.
For some people, they would like that for a lonely night. Especially if it glows, it'd be a good magic trick. But the Na'vi, they got like USB sets.
They got the hair, yeah.
Yeah, the USB sets, whatever the hell. Plug their hair into your sphincter or whatever.
Worst Steven Spielberg film. See, I haven't watched a lot of his latest stuff, like the historical dramas he's done. He's done War Horse or any of that. So I have to look at a list here. What about for you, Matt?
I don't remember what he's done recently. I swear I've seen something. I can't remember what he's done.
So of course you got Duel, you got the Sugarland Express, Jaws, Close Encounters, 1941, Raiders, E.T., Temple of Doom, The Color Purple, Empire of the Sun, Always, Last Crusade, Hook. I know you're not as big of a fan of mine. I mean, a big of a fan of Hook as I am. Sorry, I couldn't speak there for a second.
But I'd probably still say I'd rather watch Hook than probably War Horse or Lincoln or fucking Amistad.
Mm-hmm.
Those movies seem a lot more boring to me.
AI? Is that maybe? Did you like AI? Yeah.
No.
You haven't seen AI?
I see. I didn't like it.
Uh-huh.
I guess I'll just pick AI for the ones I've seen. I'll pick AI. Spielberg tried to be Stanley Kubrick and failed, and then had shitty ending.
Yeah, AI is pretty up there for me as well. But The Lost World I didn't care for that much either.
Yeah.
That's more disappointing to me than AI.
I'd rather watch Lost World, Jeff Goldblum, even if it's than fucking midget bicentennial man.
I don't know if I would say I like Freddy's Nightmares. I can have fun with Freddy's Nightmares as, a 80s bit of cornball cheese, because that I normally don't use that term, but with Freddy's Nightmares it really does apply. Some episodes are definitely better than others, and the whole idea of having two stories that are loosely connected to one another got old pretty quick. And some of the ones that they continued on, they had sequels, they had episodes that connected to another episode, and some of those were just not needed at all. These stories weren't nearly as interesting, and it just got to the point where they got really lazy with the storytelling. But I can watch Freddy's Nightmares, and it is too bad that the Blu-ray release that was supposed to come out in Germany, it got canceled.
Is that recent?
Yeah, it was supposed to come out in Germany, and then it got canceled recently. It's from Mr. D-Man. Thoughts on RoboCop TV series? I don't hate it. Initially, when I first saw an episode years ago, I thought this was lame and stupid, and RoboCop is shooting nets at people and non-lethal forms of stopping bad guys, and some Dick Tracy reject villain named Pudface. But I've seen a handful of episodes, and I don't hate the series now. I can watch it. I actually like it more than RoboCop 3 or the remake. It kind of reminds me, and when it comes to its writing and its tone and its vibe, of the Flash 90s series, which I'm a fan of. So I would say that's better than RoboCop the series, but it has that kind of sort of vibe to it. And Richard Eden, I thought he did a really good job playing RoboCop. Not Peter Weller. No one will ever be Peter Weller. But Eden, to me, was the closest I've seen any actor come to Weller when it comes to playing that character. And Eden even said it in an interview, Eden, he studied Weller. He studied his mannerisms. He studied his movements. And I think that paid off for Richard Eden.
Mm-hmm. Real quick, like Jonathan Lindsay, yeah, Bullet Train would be in my favorite top 10 of the year.
And yeah, Jonathan, like, yeah, I do plan on doing Batman TAS season 1 at the very least after Karate Kid 3, as well as other Karate Kid films. Cobra Kai, I think I'll wait a little bit though. Like, I don't want to like burn myself out on Karate Kid stuff. I want to wait a little bit to do, you know, Cobra Kai videos. It's okay, Don, if you're late. Like, you know, more the merrier. You know, it's not work. It's a clock in right on time. Otherwise,
now,
you're not going to get the same experience.
Michael says it's a true challenge. It's not a true challenge. Worst John Carver film is easy. The Ward.
Yeah.
It's easy. The Ward.
Hands down. Easy. Done. Or one of his Masters of Horror short films.
I would still say The Ward.
Yeah, The Ward. Yeah.
Just predictable ending and yeah.
Yeah, The Ward is like one of those films, like, it's hard to believe it was even directed by John Carpenter. It's
Doesn't
so generic.
seem like it. Doesn't have his music, doesn't have his feel. Cast I didn't care for. Mm-hmm. No.
If I'm a Jason David Frank fan, maybe at one point. Is he the one that, like, there was something that came out that he was doing some shady shit, or was it the other guy? No, it was Austin St. John. That's who it was. The Red Ranger who was getting involved in some fucking scam or some shit.
Yeah, and then there's some thought that he got hoodwinked into it. He didn't really know much about it. So I don't know the detail.
Yeah, I don't know the details either.
Jason David Frank is a guy who loves himself a lot and thinks he's the teen shit of Power Rangers, and people would go to his seminars or school and just either have fights with his wife.
Fabio's not a fan.
No, like either have fights with his wife or argue with his kids in front of these students, and he was always late, and if you're supposed to pay him by the weekend, he lets you know like every hour, and he's also the guy that's like, I need to fight Jean-Claude Van Damme. He tried to. There's a video if you look up. Yeah, he wants to fight Van Damme, and I'm like, yeah, okay, dude.
It sounds like he's taking his last name way too literally. He's being a little too frank.
A little bit.
Although, you know, I was a fan of his. I love the Green Ranger and the White Ranger, but like, yeah, you know, I disagree, Ribbelin. I like that remake. I don't think it's that bad at all, really. I actually like it more than the original Village of the Damned, but that's just me personally.
No, so do I. I like the remake. I don't think it's that bad.
Favorite underrated sequel besides Karate Kid 2 and Predator 2? I mean, RoboCop 2 is definitely up there.
Tremors 2.
Yeah. Friday the 13th. You know, some Friday the 13th sequels like The New Blood.
Jason Goes to Hell.
Yes, definitely. Matrix sequels. I've always liked Matrix Reloaded and Revolutions. I don't think they're nearly as bad as people make them out to be. The Mummy Returns. I actually like The Mummy Returns a little bit more than the first movie.
Yeah, I still like the first movie more.
That's cool.
That's cool.
Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. That's it. That's another one.
Yeah.
They nuked the fridge. I'm like, it's not realistic. I'm like, none of these films are realistic. They're based on serials from the 30s. There's no magic stones. There's no Ark of the Covenant melts people's faces. There's no ancient Grail Knight who lives to be 100 years or more old.
I'll put Live Free or Die Hard on there.
Yeah, it's another one. for sure.
And Jonathan Lindsay, real quick, I don't know what my favorite Batman animated episode is, but I do like the Invisible Man one. I forget.
See No Evil? Is that what it's called? I think.
Baby, I know that one comes to mind. I like the one with Mark Senior, the Man Bat.
Yeah.
Heart of Ice. Those are a couple.
Yeah, Heart of Ice is a classic. I love that episode.
Those are the first three that popped in my head. So.
Two-Face two-parter. That's really up there for me. Richard Mall. I mean, what a great voice acting performance by him as Harvey Dent and Two-Face. That's the definitive Two-Face to me, is that performance from Batman animated series. Feet of Clay is also really good. The two-parter with Clayface. I also like Nothing to Fear with the debut of Scarecrow, which had that iconic scene with Batman where he's like, "I am vengeance. I am the night. I am Batman." Yeah, I've been revisiting Batman animated series myself recently, and been a lot of fun. Love that show. POV is also a really good episode. I've always really enjoyed that episode because it's very unique. It's interesting that like that early in the series, you have an episode that has the perspective of these marginal characters like Officer Montoya and Bullock, and then you get their perspective, their point of view of what happened. And then Montoya actually gets to kick some ass and stop the bad guys and help Batman out. That's an early example of like a female character being strong, being capable, and it doesn't come across as forced. There's no pedestals that they're trying to put Montoya on or anything, and I think it's a lot more effective that way. Captain Marvel should take notes. Hey Jesse, yeah, Shakedown. Yeah, I've seen that one. I have that one on Blu-ray with Peter Weller and Sam Elliott.
Yeah, it's okay.
Best and worst Jason Voorhees look. Best look for me is New Blood. I really love that design. With the zombie Jason and like the broken mask and everything, and it's my favorite look when it comes to Jason. Worst, I mean, Jason, the Uber Jason looked pretty fucking silly. But yeah, it might be Uber Jason because I'm trying to. Well, I mean, Ken Krisinger's Jason wasn't really the best look either from Freddy vs. Jason. And of course, you know, Part 8 didn't have the. I mean, with the gloves and the yellow mask, and that didn't look that great either. But yeah, those are probably my picks. What about you, Matt?
I mean, I hate Facebook knows that he's asked this question to me before, but I'll just say favorite Part 7, The New Blood, worst Freddy vs. Jason. Want to be Frankenstein.
Yeah.
Mask didn't look like it fit. Looks like stole clothes from Rob Zombie's Halloween 2.
Yeah. 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 Hey, Monteval. Enjoy it. Enjoy The Rocketeer. It's definitely worth a watch. It's got a great score by James Horner. Really captures the spirit of adventure that was prevalent in a lot of those pulp comics from back in the day. What?
You saw The Rocketeer like this. So now what? Fuck Kevin Smith. Remember?
Yeah. The reason why we don't have like anything from the Rocketeer, I think was like 20th anniversary or 25th anniversary screening, is because Kevin Smith ruined it. Apparently, he swore too much, or he showed up drunk, or some shit. It was a train wreck, and Disney.
I don't think he was drunk, but
I don't think he was drunk, but He swore too much. It was a train wreck. I think I even heard something like he wasn't even like really that big of a fan of the film. So he wasn't really the best person for that opportunity. And it was such a damn shame because it was a rare opportunity because so many of the cast were present. They were present for that screening and they were willing to be interviewed and willing to do all this and the Q&A, and none of it ever happened. I think that was really the intention by Disney. I think they were going to include that Q&A in the anniversary edition. And then Kevin Smith just ruined shit, and then that was it.
Yeah, Kevin Smith does a lot of stuff. If you ask him, he'll say yes. You think he's a fan of Roadhouse when he did that commentary? No, he doesn't care about action movies. He just agreed to it because they asked him to.
Mm.
He's not even big on Tim Burton's Batman movies, but try listening to one of his commentaries on YouTube. Just pretty much nitpicking the fuck.
Yeah.
Not like the comic.
So here's another thing from Jesse talking about City Slickers 2. What do you think about that one, Matt?
I disagree. I don't think it's that good of a movie. It's not the worst. It's just I don't think it's that good.
I haven't seen that one in forever, so I can't really say much. I would say Crocodile Dundee 2. That's a little underrated, along with Beverly Hills Cop 2. No, I haven't seen the new one yet. I'm pretty damn sure it's gonna suck, but I haven't seen it yet. Speaking of stuff I've seen, just off the top of my head, I watched Valerian recently, the Luc Besson science fiction movie, and I liked it. I thought it was interesting. Had some good, really impressive, incredible visuals. Like the budget was definitely on the screen. I think it's a little too long though. I think there's some stuff that's a little confusing in terms of the writing and the plot, and I do think some of the performances are kind of eh. Like I don't think Dane DeHaan was really the best choice to be the lead. He really just came across like he was doing a bad impression of Keanu Reeves the entire time. It was so hard to get past. I expected him to go like, "Whoa!"
Which movie?
Valerian.
Oh, okay. I might have seen that, but
City of 1,000 Planets, I think, is what that one was called. The Luc Besson film that was a bomb.
Yeah, I think I did see that. I think it had some nice visuals.
See, it was worth a watch for the visuals and for the creativity. I like science fiction films like that are creative and unique. There's some really cool stuff in that. Yeah, I saw the season 2 trailer for Chucky. It looked like shit. I mean, I didn't really care for the trailers for the season 1. I haven't watched season 1 yet. If somebody wants me to watch season 1, that's all I'm saying. Otherwise, I'm not doing it. I'm just gonna or season 2.
That's why I didn't watch more, because it was only the first episode I got requested. If you want to request more, feel free, but be my guest. But that's the same thing, like Obi-Wan, She-Hulk, what was the other one? Chucky. It's like after first episode, it's like no one requested anymore. It's like, well, they got the hint with the as in I guess my thoughts on the show is gonna suck.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, with season 2, like, I just once again the same issues. Brad Dourif sounds old. It just
because how old is he?
The same energy isn't there, and I don't know about the quality of the writing, the humor, and like Glenn and Glenda being back. Like that's not a positive. Like those characters were trash.
Were they lame? Are they adults?
Yeah, they're human for some reason. I'm like, how did this happen? Like, I don't.
Well, at the end of Seed of Chucky, they were reborn. And
I forgot about that. I forgot about that. Yeah.
Well, Seed of Chucky. Why would people remember it?
That's a good point. Johnny. Yeah, I don't think it's miles better than the first film. I still really enjoy the first movie. It's just I like the second film a little bit more, just me personally. Yeah, the CGI rock was bad, but for the time, it was okay. Like, you have to look at it. Like, a lot of CGI from that time period was very iffy. But there's other CGI in that's really good. So and also the action is is really well done in that sequel. Some great action sequences. Yeah, Live Free or Die Hard. Yeah, that was the true end to Die Hard, not A Good Day to Die Hard. And they scrapped the prequel.
Good.
But it's not going to be done. It's going to be like the Crow reboot that keeps resurrecting itself. Like, it's not going to die.
They'll just reboot it. Guarantee you.
Yeah, for sure. I disagree, Ribblin. I mean, I don't think it's the worst of the Friday the 13th series. It's actually one of my favorites, especially on the rated version. It's got some really good gore. It's very creative, fun.
It's better than 5. It's better than 8. I think it's way better than the first one.
Yeah.
I'll say it.
I agree.
First one, I can watch. I like the sequels more. The first one ain't all that. It's like maybe a 3 out of 5 star movie.
Mm-hmm.
The Friday the 13th original is no Nightmare on Elm Street original or Halloween original.
No.
But we're comparing.
I don't.
Hellraiser original.
I don't agree either. I mean, I agree. I agree. It's one of those things where I just, even the first time I saw it, I was like, that was it. Like I was like, this is the film that, like, I understand its legacy. I understand, its place in horror and how it inspired so many other films.
Legacy is better than the first movie.
Yeah.
So I do think its legacy, what it came out of it,
yeah.
the sequels,
and other slashers that were trying to be like Friday the 13th. Like, there are Friday the 13th clones that I like more than Friday the 13th.
My Bloody Valentine.
Mm-hmm.
I think is way better.
Pet Sematary 2. It's not bad.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. That is one that doesn't get talked about that much.
Yeah, I like it.
Christopher the Joker. Okay, cool, Ryan. That's your favorite Batman. That's actually my least favorite Joker episode that I've watched so far. During my rewatch, like, I like Joker's Favor more. I like the one. Definitely like the Last Laugh more, and that's my least favorite Joker episode. I think part of it's because of Robin. Why the hell is Robin even in there anyway? Like, he doesn't show up again for, like, I don't know, for like the majority of the first season. Why the hell was Robin even in the first episode? Just to sell toys.
Yeah.
That's
to be fair. Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I wasn't big on that episode. He was there.
Yeah, it's okay. But compared to the Last Laugh, I mean, that one's a classic.
But real quick, I told Meltdown too. Honestly, none of the Friday 13 films make sense if you think about it. I mean, Part 8 had they went to the ocean, but they were in the lake.
Yeah.
I mean, the first one had a 70-year-old woman throw another lady through a window like a sack of potatoes, and took Harry Crosby, lifted his whole body up onto a door, and pinned him like a pincushion.
Mm-hmm.
And she looks like she could barely change a tire.
Yeah.
I mean,
Freddy's Dead, much better than Part 5. Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree with that. Like, Freddy's Dead,
I agree with that.
One I think is a little underrated.
Splendido, thank you.
Because, Freddy's Dead, Robert Englund's back to having fun and has the energy that he was lacking in Part 5. Also, Freddy's Dead just kind of feels like its own story, and it's doing something different with Freddy's kid, with Lisa Zane, and then some of the backstory stuff with Freddy when he was younger or before he got burned. And yeah, some of the effects are a little dated for the time, the 3D stuff and whatever. It's got a good supporting cast though, and I enjoy Freddy's Dead. I have a lot of fun with Freddy's Dead.
Yeah. Goofy fun.
Yeah. But there's also some nice little sinister moments, like the whole bit where it's like, you've forgotten where you came from, but I know where you're going. or every town has an Elm Street. But yeah, Crystal Skull. Yeah, I don't. It's not nearly as bad as people make it out to be. Oh, the Creepshow 2. That's another kind of. I like Creepshow 2 more than Matt, so I'd probably put that up there. It's like an underrated sequel for me.
Yeah, I don't mind it, but yeah, you like it more than me. And I'll be right back.
What would I do if I encountered that blob monster, from the evil oil slick? I wouldn't do what that fucking dumbass did and celebrate on the beach and be like, "Ha! I beat you." No, I would just like run. I wouldn't like stop and act all cocky and shit. But if it was me, I got to be honest, I would have been eaten because I can't swim worth a shit. Like I could doggy paddle a little bit, but I cannot swim nearly well enough to escape that shit. I would be fucked. Absolutely fucked. Samuel, I don't know about like Halloween Kills. I mean, I like that. Okay. For the kills and for some other things, like the prequel, like the opening sequence that took place in the past. But Matt didn't like that one. I love Hook, but he's not a fan of that. I don't think he hates Hook, but I love that film. So we definitely don't agree on that one. Hey there, thanks, Bobby. I'd rather hang out. Fuck Prey. That piece of shit.
Mike loves Prey. He was talking about before how he wishes there was a Blu-ray.
No, not at all. I give me a Blu-ray fresh. If we're talking about like Hulu horror films, I want an official Blu-ray of that movie, not fucking Prey. Thanks for the donation, Bobby. I'd rather hang out with you guys than guys like AVGN. You guys are easy to talk to and much more fun and nicer. While guys like AVGN and Watch for Fun. Thanks, Bobby. I like James Rolfe, but he does kind of seem like he might not be the most fun guy to hang out with from what I've been kind of reading and kind of hearing about. Also,
he seems very quiet.
Yeah, see, that's the other thing. He's very quiet. So, but doesn't mean he's a bad guy,
right? He just steal his friends steal movie reviews.
Fucking Angry Joe, like what a. I used to like Angry Joe. I used to watch Angry Joe videos. I used to be subscribed to Angry Joe, but then he went on this tirade about something incredibly petty. I think it was something like involved in like one of his PlayStation consoles or something to do with monetization. And like the way that he went about it was just so petty and lame that I lost a lot of respect for him from that with that video. And then I was just done, and I haven't seen Angry Joe video in years.
Yeah, I don't know what that video is, so I can't comment.
Do you watch Angry Joe?
I know who he is. I don't know if I've seen the video of his. I think he loved Prey.
Oh yeah, Michael Myers' mask. It was a William Shatner. It was a Captain Kirk mask that they found at a store, and they had a couple different options. There was like a clown mask, and there was like the Captain Kirk mask, and then they decided to like shave the hair a little bit and then paint it white. And there you go. There's the Michael Myers mask. Who knew that William Shatner was the face of the new face of horror? I'm surprised William Shatner, like he didn't ask for royalties, for the Halloween. He's like, hey, that's my face. I should get a cut of the profits for these Halloween movies. Best and worst Michael Myers look. Worst is Halloween 2, Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. Look at the hobo Michael Myers. Like, awful. There were some other bad mask looks, though, like Halloween 5. It's too big for the guy's head, for the guy's face, and it looked shitty. Or like the different masks in H2O. Like, there's a lot of bad masks, but I would say probably the worst look is Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. Best Michael Myers look for me, it's Halloween 2. I really like the way that Michael Myers looks in the 1981 sequel.
Mm-hmm.
What about you, Matt?
No, I agree. Favorite is original Halloween 2 mask. Worst is the hobo Myers.
Yeah, screw hobo Myers.
Looks like Rob Zombie under the mask.
Yeah, for sure. On the same trend, I guess we could talk about like what would we consider like the best and worst Freddy Krueger looks?
Looks?
Yeah.
Worst remake?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
My favorite look is part 4. That's my favorite look.
That's a good choice. That's a good choice. I really like the look of Freddy in part 4 as well, but I don't know, something about the look that he has in part 2, even though it's not as like easy on the eyes, it's just very sinister and creepy. So I kind of like the Freddy's Revenge look a lot, actually. 3 and 4 though are really good. But yeah, the remake, fuck the Freddy, the look of Freddy in the remake. It's more realistic. I'm like, no. Yeah, Nightmare 5 Freddy look is pretty bad too. Now that somebody mentioned that one, it definitely looked cheap. It looked like something where we want to make a facial appliance in the smallest amount of pieces, and I think that's what they did, if I remember correctly. And so it kind of did look like that. It looked like they cheaped out on some shit. Yeah, it looked like melted pizza cheese, pizza face. Freddy looking like Pizza the Hut.
People say, "Oh, let's try to be more realistic." It's not. Honestly, that's not always the right choice. For example, when people die, they shit themselves. Are you going to start putting that in every movie? When someone dies, then they shit themselves?
No.
That's more realistic. No, I don't want to see that. Sometimes you have to take artistic license.
Well, I mean, look at Darkman, for instance. That's a lot of artistic license because it's not necessarily how you would look if you were burned that badly. But it looks amazing. It's great. Remember when Jim Belushi was doing action movies? Yeah, I do. Remember when Steve Guttenberg was doing action films? That's even weirder.
Or Judge Reinhold.
Yeah. Yeah, Hostage Train. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we've been going on for over 2 hours, so maybe we'll just
Yep. Do you want to say, hey, Terminator? Hope you're doing well.
Yeah, I hope you're doing well too. Maybe we'll end things with like a few more questions. Maybe tie things up to with the Hellraiser thing. Like, what are our best and worst Pinhead looks? I know worst is definitely Revelations.
Yeah,
definitely.
John Lindsay, a commentary. I'm open to whatever it is. But to answer your question, worst is Revelations. Best. Does he kind of look the same in part 1 and part 2 and part 3?
Yeah. It's kind of a hard. It's kind of a hard one to do.
Look the same.
It's kind of a hard one to do. I would say part 3 though is like where they like really. It seemed like they perfected the process or something.
He looks the same to me in all three of them.
Yeah. But that one is a little more difficult because he looked very similar in like all three films. So maybe like best look is like the first three movies. But yeah, Juno, best and worst Chucky look. My favorite Chucky look is part 2, Child's Play 2. That's my favorite Chucky look.
I agree with
that. From what I've seen the show, it's pretty fucking shitty. But probably the one where they like, I think it was Curse of Chucky before like the face fell off or something like the new look for Curse of Chucky. Yeah. It looked like a fucking Barbie doll. That's probably that's the worst. That's the worst. I do also kind of like the Chucky that's damaged from like Bride of Chucky. I kind of like. I don't mind that look. I think it's kind of cool. But I prefer Child's Play 2. What about you, Matt?
No, I agree. Child's Play 2 best look. Curse of Chucky worst look. Yeah. And Fud Don Fettuccine.
Yeah. Johnny's been asking best and worst Stephen Sommers movie. I'd have to look at his filmography.
My favorite is Deep Rising.
Yeah, that's a really good one.
Worst? I don't know all that he's done. I'm trying to remember. What has he done lately?
I'm looking at his filmography. Oh yeah, I forgot he directed that Jungle Book movie that Disney is completely forgotten about.
Didn't see it.
Deep Rising, The Mummy Returns, Van Helsing, G.I. Joe, Odd Thomas. Man, the last film he directed was Odd Thomas in 2013.
I'd go with G.I. Joe then, the worst.
Yeah. Although his directorial debut, Catch Me If You Can, is pretty bad too.
Didn't see that.
But yeah. That's tough. I really like The Mummy and The Mummy Returns. I'd also like Deep Rising. I don't know. Maybe since I like The Mummy Returns a little bit more than The Mummy, maybe I'll go with that one. Yeah, the Jungle Book with Jason Scott Lee. I really want to see that one, but like the DVD's out of print and Disney didn't decide to make more DVDs, and so it's kind of hard to find. It wasn't even released on Blu-ray.
Mm-hmm.
Jedi favorite spy action film. There's so many of them. That's too difficult. I do really like the Living Daylights. I would say that might be my favorite Bond film. In terms of Mission Impossible movies, I would say Rogue Nation is my favorite of that series. So I guess, those are some spy films that I really, really enjoy. I also like Remo Williams, and I also like Salt. And
I don't know.
Best and worst George Lucas movie.
Well, other than THX, he's only done Star Wars, right?
Did he direct American Graffiti? No, that was someone else, I think.
Yeah, American Graffiti. Yeah, American Graffiti did as well. THX, American Graffiti, Star Wars, and the 3 prequels.
Yeah.
So I guess best, I would say the original Star Wars. Worst, Attack of the Clones.
Yeah. I mean, best though, I do like Empire Strikes Back, so I like that one a little bit more. Oh yeah, he didn't direct that one. I forgot. Yeah.
Irvin Kershner.
So, yeah, Irvin Kershner. Yeah, he didn't direct a whole lot actually.
Well, Jedi-Zilla, George Lucas did not direct Return of the Jedi. See.
Yeah, that was
some guy I'd never heard of before.
Richard Marquand.
Yeah. I don't know if he did anything after. It's a weird choice.
No. Well, I mean, he had some weird choices initially. Speaking of George Lucas, he's a David Lynch and it was asking David Lynch to direct the movie or David Cronenberg. I'm like, no, what?
I mean, I didn't mind Dune, so
I love Dune.
Lynch. I see David Lynch do Return of the Jedi.
I think David Lynch did Dune instead of Return of the Jedi or something. I think.
Yeah, Dune was 84, I think.
Best and worst Ninja Turtles looks. How about that one, Matt? Of course, worst is the Ninja Chuds, right?
Yeah, the Super Chuds from Michael Bay's produced. And those are the worst, and the best are the first two live-action films.
Yeah. Yeah. What about an animation?
Best 2003 cartoon, worst the 2018 cartoon.
The Rise of the TMNT?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, D-Man, George didn't direct Howard the Duck. That was directed by Willard Hayek and Gloria Katz, I think.
Gloria? Or Gloria? Was it Gloria?
Yeah, I thought it was Gloria.
Yeah, Gloria. I thought you said Gloria. Gloria.
No, Gloria. Gloria. Da 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 da. But yeah, I don't really know what else to say. I don't really have anything else to talk about. I don't know about any upcoming recent stuff or news, trailers.
Winnie the Pooh.
Yeah, Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey.
What's your thoughts on it? Because I've said my thoughts in the past.
That's it. I grew up watching the New Adventures of Winnie the Pooh on Disney Channel, so it's definitely quite the contrast. If they could do something fun and out there like Willy's Wonderland, then it might be kind of fun, but it probably won't be anything like that. It'll probably just be some low budget slasher movie, but with Winnie the Pooh characters.
Became public domain, so what else going to be public domain next?
I've heard things about Mickey Mouse, but I doubt it. That's never happening. That's never happening.
Do you have a choice? Because if so, why didn't no one buy Winnie the Pooh?
Oh, because Winnie the Pooh was technically not a Disney property to begin with. So Mickey Mouse is a Disney property and will always be a Disney property.
But at the same time, from what I say, after 95 years, it goes public domain regardless.
Well, I think that can happen, but like I think there's ways that you can.
Willie will.
You can Steamboat Willie, but you can renew certain rights and things like that. But yeah, it's interesting that we're getting into that point where like it's after a certain amount of time, like things are becoming. But Winnie the Pooh was never technically 100% a Disney property to begin with. It was a series of books.
But at the same time, if they could have bought, look at all the other shit they buy. They could have bought Winnie the Pooh and made the money back in merchandise alone.
Yeah.
But they didn't.
We're saying Bloody Honey is a spoof of, A.A. Milne's original Winnie the Pooh. Because I think, that's probably what's going into the public domain is the original Winnie the Pooh. Like, it's a kind of... It's a complicated sort of thing with copyright. It's kind of similar to what happened with King Kong. When the 1976 King Kong movie was in production, there was another King Kong movie that was in production. And because that King Kong movie technically was dealing with the actual had the actual copyright for the 1933 film because it was like it was Universal. The 1976 movie that was done by Paramount and Dino De Laurentiis that eventually did get released, that one was dealing with the novelization of the 1933 movie. So they were able to work around the copyright and it's crazy that that's the one that got made, but the Universal one that had the official rights, well, that one never got made at all. And so you were just left with the unofficial King Kong. And that's why you didn't have dinosaurs. you didn't have dinosaurs in the 1976 film because of copyright, because of rights issues.
So they could work around where it has to be Steamboat Willie and can't call it Mickey Mouse or something. But it could still be Steamboat Willie.
Yeah. For sure. Well, I mean, Mickey Mouse, technically, I think the origin was like Oswald the Rabbit, you know, that kind of thing anyway. So there's some interesting stuff going on.
There'll be people doing porn films with them.
Oh, yeah. I mean, totally porno. There were probably already Winnie the Pooh pornos. Probably, you know, there's pornos for everything. I mean, there were Super Hornio Brothers. There's an interesting lost media quest for Super Hornio Brothers. I don't even heard about this. That's like because there's a Ron Jeremy Mario Brothers porno parody.
Yeah, CinemaStar reviewed it, so I know the movie because he reviewed it, but I didn't know it was lost and stuff.
Well, it's because the one that people are reviewing and watching is the second one, but there's like a first one that was made, and there were only like a handful of videotapes that were released before Nintendo was like, "Get this shit out of here! You don't have permission." So, yeah, start out talking about Hellraiser and talking about pornos. And speaking of, there definitely, I think there already is a Hellraiser porno. There has to be. I don't know what it would be called.
Pinning the head.
They're probably. I'm just gonna look that up real quick. I'm curious.
Pendick.
Hellraiser. That's what it's called.
Should have known. Yeah, if you didn't have enough time, I probably would have thought of Cockraiser. Yeah. Terminator, like Penetrator.
Yeah.
A Cockraiser. And Face Preliminary, yes, the aliens posters over there.
Maybe that's what the new Hellraiser is. It's just Cockraiser.
If he has one, I mean,
or it, or they.
It's her non-digital.
Non-digital.
Well, they say non-binary, so why not be non-digital?
Non-digital.
They always say non-binary, non-binary. Why don't they just say digital and non-digital? Timex and non-Timex. Identify as a meat popsicle or a VCR. It's all stupid. It's just it's all dumb.
Yeah.
Sorry. So you got one more from Bobby.
Oh, thank you, Bobby. How would we react if there's a figure toy line of us? First off, we'd be like, who? Why would they do this? Second,
we'd say why.
Yeah, why? Second, might be kind of cool. Depends on what they do, though. Depends on what kind of toys they are.
Yeah, my question would be why, and what a waste of money. What is a waste of money that was? I was going to buy that. It would be at the dollar bin with the Kylo Ren and Rey figures.
Or Rose Tico. That's really better. Rose Tico figure.
Rose Tico. Yeah, there you go.
Or CM Punk.
That's why I forgot, because no one else remembers.
Or CM Punk AEW figures.
Why?
You didn't hear about this? The CM Punk did this whole tirade.
Well, I know the CM Punk stuff. The figures. Yeah.
They got put on.
People that get it.
They got put on clearance because I think CM Punk is essentially getting. I think the rumors are that he's going to get let go from the company.
Their loss.
Action figures based on famous porn stars. Not surprised.
I'm surprised.
Might as well end on this. What unfinished projects would we have liked to have seen? Isobar.
What do you mean by unfinished?
Maybe
When
it
it
means
says
like,
unfinished,
yeah, maybe it means like not made. I
because
don't know.
those films were never really started to be made.
Yeah.
So I
I
don't know
think
what
it,
you mean by unfinished.
yeah, I think it's probably something like, greatest films, that were never made kind of thing.
Mm.
Isobar, I think it's called Shadow Company, the one that was supposed to be John Carpenter directing with the script by Shane Black, and was it Fred Decker? Did Fred Decker
Yeah.
work on that one?
No. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
That one would be awesome. Actually, they should just do that one now. Instead of doing the Hellraiser reboot, just do Shadow Company. Put the money and make Shadow Company or Isobar.
Considering the past 10 years of what Stallone's done, he could have done an Isobar.
How about Night Skies? I know there already is a Night Skies, but it's a piece of shit. I'm not talking about that fucking movie. do like the version of Night Skies, the script that exists, and like do that movie. That'd be
There
better.
really isn't that Critters.
Kinda. Yeah. That's a good point. But what about any other ones that come to mind to you?
Freddy versus Jason versus Ash.
Yeah.
It's like a couple years after Freddy versus Jason.
Yeah, that would have been cool. Part of me would have liked to have seen Ghostbusters 3 in the 90s with the original cast.
Blame Bill Murray.
But yeah, Bill Murray decided to be a dick, so that never happened. Also, Superman Lives just to see the batshit crazy insanity that movie was, honestly.
Yeah.
Honestly, I really do wish they actually made that movie.
Yeah, I would take that over Batman and Robin.
Yeah.
And hey, Scotty, hope you have a good night.
Oh, and of course, William Gibson's Alien 3. Not the draft that they adapted the comic book from, or any of the first draft. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jedi. There are some others too, but those are the ones that I came up with off the top of my head. And the Exterminator, not the Executioner, was Stallone. They were going to do an Executioner film, and Stallone was going to be in it, and then it never really happened. Like that could have been cool. Commando 2, the script for that's pretty crazy. That might have been fun as well.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's my thoughts on unfinished or unmade projects that I think could have been made. Speaking of that stuff, I highly recommend a couple books if you're interested in that kind of thing. The Greatest Sci-Fi Films Never Made by David Hughes, and then another one that I think the same author did called Tales from Development Hell. Those are highly recommended. Definitely check those books out. Really, really cool reads. Yes, great, really good books. Yeah.
Well, actually, let me look real quick. For those wondering if you do want this book, this is what's in Tales from Development Hell real quick. The original Planet of the Apes with Arnold and Ridley Scott.
Mm-hmm.
The original Total Recall with, I think, Cronenberg.
Yeah, Psycho Hobo. Mountains of Madness by Del Toro. Also, Hellboy
Crusade
3.
with Arnold. Yeah. Has Crusade with Arnold and Paul Verhoeven.
Crusade. Crusade, instead of doing Cutler Island, just do Crusade. Cutler Island's cheaper. Crusade cost too much money. And then Cutler Island wound up costing as much as Crusade. just fucking made Crusade. If you're gonna go out with a bang, not with a wet fart. That's what Carlico did. They went out with a wet fart with with Custer Island.
Yeah. Then you have the Silver Surfer, the movie.
Oh yeah, that one.
The movie.
Hey Marvel,
before.
Where's that? Where's the Silver Surfer movie?
He's male, so you can't have one. Supernova, before Supernova, Dead Star. The original Richard Stanley's Island of Dr. Moreau.
Yeah.
Ridley Scott and Arnold's I Am Legend.
That one for sure. James Cameron's Spider-Man. That would have been interesting.
Yeah, that's in here.
Seems like that would have been like this one. Possibly rated R. James Cameron's Spider-Man.
Well, I mean, what James Cameron wanted to do Jurassic Park, it would have been R-rated.
Yeah.
Because the novel, they're blowing up dinosaurs in the novel, for one.
Jesse, no. There was never going to be a sequel to Tango and Cash. I wish. I know there's been rumors. Stallone's talked about it, but that'll never happen.
No. So, yeah, these books are interesting for those who want to.
There's some other books too about unmade films. Like there's a horror films one, and there's another one that talks about various other ones. But those are the two ones that I recommend the most, because those other ones are a little bit. They're interesting, but like some of them are just kind of picture books, like posters and stuff.
Yeah, these are poem books.
But My Bloody Valentine 2. Oh yeah, they were gonna do that, or the Friday the 13th reboot sequel. Wasn't that the one that was gonna be in the snow, right?
Yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah, but nope.
And that made money too. That's the thing that was surprising. It's like it made money. I don't know why they didn't do another one.
About how much it sucked, apparently.
Yeah, but like in today's day and age, like all that would happen, but they would still make a sequel. If it makes enough money, they will make a sequel.
Well, who bitch? I mean, Stream 5 and fucking Prey and all. Who bitch? I guess other than Matrix 4, who bitches about?
They're doing another Saw film, right? Another one.
I didn't know. I'm not surprised.
Another Final Destination, I think. I heard it's like a sequel / reboot or whatever the hell.
Who cares? Why should anyone care?
But nostalgia. They'll probably have actors from the other films.
Really nostalgia material, though. No one saw Spiral. No one saw Jigsaw.
Yeah.
No one gives a fuck about Final Destination. Did they make 5 or 6?
5, I think. Yeah. This would be the 6th one.
No one cared about 5 or 4.
Yeah.
Fuck it.
But anyway, thanks once again to my good friend Matt for joining me on the stream tonight. And thank you all for joining in as well. And until next time, I will see you later. See ya.